Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Brian's Beverage Corner. And today we will be talking a little bit more about how I get some of the information I get for these beers and where you can go if you want to learn more about these beers. So, a lot of times you can read it. There are magazines out there. There are a lot of forums and stuff like that you can read off of. I tend to go for, the day of the internet now. I go for websites, and I went online, and a lot of the information I get and what I would use when I was a beer manager to buy beer for was I would use a website called beeradvocate.com. It's free to make an account. You could talk to other people. You can sign up to get in a program where you can ship and trade beers because it's a whole lengthy process, but it's fun. So that's where I get a lot of my information. If I didn't know about a beer or if a customer wanted to know if we can get a beer for them, that's where I would go to get the information to know who makes it and where I can get it. And does my distributor or the distributor we work with have the rights to distribute it? And sometimes multiple places can distribute the same item, and you got to see who works with who to see where you can get it. For those of you wondering what other places there are out there, the top three places that I found on Google was craftbeer.com, ratebeer.com, and Beer Advocate's the number 3 website. There are a ton more. If you Google just like best craft beer info, it'll give you the top 6 like best places to go. Now, so I actually used Beer Advocate to get a little bit more info on the beers I have today. So as I said last week, we are doing the same we're doing the last 3 beers from the 6-pack I made last week. So I saved them. And the first one we're going to do today is Diamond Wave by McKellar Brewing out of San Diego. Comes in at 5.2%. It also has Modern Times on here as well. So I'm trying to see if it's a collaboration beer. But it looked interesting when I saw it in the store. McKellar is available on the East Coast as well. My store that I worked at will have McKellar products from time to time, which is awesome. So I'm happy to say that I can finally have a beer on the show now out here that you can get on the East Coast for my East Coast people and on the West Coast for my friends out here. Interesting fact about McKellar, they started in Copenhagen, Denmark. And basically in 2006, the two gentlemen, Mikkel and Keller, that started the whole thing, went to a beer show in 2006, and a U.S. craft beer guy came out looking for their product because they heard about them through the grapevine, and basically gave a distributing deal to them to the U.S. And they're out of 12%. 12% Beers is the distributor's company. I'm pretty sure it actually says it on here on the can somewhere. But 12% is the company that distributes it. That's the company that we worked with at my job. But their designs are cool. They're local San Diego. For those of you that are watching that are from the local area of San Diego, they're right downtown, right in like the Little Italy area. Down there, they're actually by where Ballast Point is. They're like right down the street, but they're really cool. So this beer is called Diamond Waves. It is a hoppy lager brewed with white grape juice, key lime, and guava. Now, I've had guava beers before, and I'm not a huge fan of like putting guava in your beer, but maybe that was just the one beer I had. So I am excited to try this out and give it another chance. The rest of it sounds really good. It's going to be very interesting to see this combination of flavor together. So as you can see while I pour it. So like I said, this comes in at 5.2%, a hoppy lager. So not as intense as an IPA, but not super light as well. So this will be a little bit different. Right off the bat, natural lager taste, natural lager color. Try to get in the light there a little bit. Poured it a little quick, so it does have a little bit of a foamy head to it. Probably would have a little bit less if I didn't pour as fast, but we'll see where this goes. So off the top, I can immediately tell you, it is a little bit more bitter than I expected. What's up, Eric? I don't taste the fruit. I really don't. If it's in there, it's very, very subtle. I guess with it being, what else is on this can, just so I can give you guys a little bit more information here. They actually, so what's cool about the can, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. They actually give you the ingredients on the can, which is cool. But I'm not really. See, now that time around, when my nose was deep in the cup, I got a really strong scent of that grape juice. But I'm not really tasting it like on the front end or the back end. So I'm wondering if the guava, being the fruit it is cutting that grape juice taste and key lime. Like I've had if you've watched some of our other episodes back when I was still in New Jersey, there was an episode that we did like fruity beers, and Jason brought like a key lime pie, like sour, and that was like super, super sweet. And this is like the complete opposite of that. This is actually more on the bitter. Like I can tell you right now, like it is hoppier. It is a little bit more bitter. So I'm kind of surprised that they put that combination of fruits together. But it's not bad. It is refreshing. I guess I'd have to. I don't know. I'm kind of lost for words right now because I was expecting a lot of fruit flavor, maybe not to the point of like a fruity beer, but enough that I can say that I tasted the fruit. And it's interesting that that was the combination of flavor. But we'll move on to the next beer for now. So the next beer we have is called Vice Mixed Berries by Wild Barrel Brewing out of San Marcos, California. So out of the three, this is the only beer that is actually headquarters local. So out of San Marcos, founded in 2016. I went on their website, or I went on their profile on Beer Advocate because their website had a lot of information on them, but not on the beers. And yeah, dude, Steve was on the fruity beer episode, which was awesome. The only episode he was on. And so I couldn't get a lot of information from the website. Maybe because of like the outbreak and what's going on, they weren't able to update it that much, or they kept the information very limited. But I went on Beer Advocate. They have a lot of beers, and especially for the Weissed series, it's a Berliner Weiss like collection, which basically is a German sour. Some people don't even like, some sour drinkers don't like it because it's super sour. Like I've had the Stone Berliner Weiss that comes in like the really blue can, and it is some of them are like very, very, very strong and very, very potent, like aroma wise, maybe not like percentage wise. This one specifically comes in at 5.6%. It is like you can see on the can. It's a mixed berry, so you got strawberries, blueberries, probably a little bit of raspberry in there, maybe blackberry, but I didn't see it on the can. So let's see what this. All right away, it almost gives off like a almost like a fruit puree like color. It's really cool actually. So what's up, Schuler? Glad to have you here. But yeah, so a lot of times like these sour beers come out as like these red color, or like some kind of different color. Like sometimes you can get it a little bit darker, almost to like I don't want to say purple, but like if there's a lot of grapes in it or blueberries, like you'll get that darker fruit look. And there was one beer, I think it's called Pleroma. I forget who it's by off the top of my head, but it was like a strawberry like creme brulee kind of like like beer, and it came out like bright pink, like literally like a hot pink color. So let's see where this goes. So this one's 5.6, so a little bit stronger than the hoppy lager. Berliner Weiss, so like I said, German sour, so we'll see. Oh my God. I like that a lot. So you guys know I love sours. The aroma is fantastic. It is so fruity. It literally almost smells like you're drinking strawberries. It is a little tart though. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, it does look like a smoothie. This is really good. I like this a lot. I'm kind of upset I only bought one can of this. Um, I think like if a beer can come out a different color, like or they do something to make it a different color, like that's awesome. Like Eric told me over the summer that I think it's like Ship Bottom Brewing, which is like down the shore in New Jersey. They do a blue beer, and that blew my mind. I haven't tried it yet, and I really really want to. So I'm hoping that Eric can get that for me, like when the time comes, and if I'm home, I'd love to. I'd love to like review it and show you guys online like what it looks like because the thought of like a blue beer is insane. And then I know during St. Patty's Day there are breweries that'll make green beers by adding food coloring or something to the beer, which is awesome. Like the theme beers are great. A lot of beers come out different colors. Yeah, the Jolly Rancher one. Yeah, so like it's really interesting to see how places do it, and a lot of times with stuff like that, they'll put more information on the cans than they usually do because it's either seasonal or it's something that they don't make that often. So they try to give the drinker or the person enjoying the beer as much information because they know that if you're buying something that looks like this, you probably either know what you're looking at or you take more interest in what's in the can than people that go out and buy like a 6-pack of Bud Light. I can't I can't get over that how good that is. 5.6 on a nice day like today. I got lucky again. It's really sunny out. On a nice day like today, like that's perfect. That is a perfect. If you are not a beer drinker, if you really, it's tart but not super sour. If you are not a heavy beer drinker or you're not an IPA drinker or like you don't like Bud Light, like you tend to go for something that's a little fruitier, or even if you're like a wine person, I would recommend that to you as a beer to try. It's not too heavy. It's super fruity, very enjoyable, very refreshing. A little bit thicker. So as much as it is refreshing, it's a little thicker, and you could see that when I poured it. It came out very cloudy. It came out almost like a juice, not a beer. Whereas some other beers are very clear or very or at least like semi clear, translucent. But let's go on to the last beer. I'm kind of happy this one got saved for last because there's a lot of background on this that I didn't really know about. So this is what the can looks like. It says 329. Now don't let that fool you. That's not the name of the beer. The name of the beer is Gematria, however you would pronounce that word, by Omnipolo. Now, what I didn't know was because my store also sold Omnipolo in New Jersey, so another beer that you can get across the country. What I didn't know about this beer was they are not from the U.S. They're headquartered out of I have it written down here. It's out of Stockholm, Sweden. I had no idea that because Omnipolo is popular, especially their Nesdebazer is very popular, especially where I was working. When we got Omnipolo products, like they flew off the shelf. Same with the McKellar because it's a little bit rarer to get in the East Coast. McKellar does have a brewer like a brewery in New York City, so that's how they get it to the East Coast as well. But they are for most of their beers are out of California, and then their headquarters is in Copenhagen. But everything from Omnipolo is from Sweden. Like it gets distributed and everything from Sweden to the U.S. to Canada, to the West. And I thought that was awesome because I had no idea. I always thought they were out of the Midwest or something, but I never knew. and basically, no. If you're Mike, if you're asking about the Wild Barrel, I didn't see any distribution flags on the East Coast. But if you want one, I can definitely bring you one the next time I see you. So let's pour this, and I'll talk a little bit more about it because it just really blew my mind when I went to their website. Because it talks a lot about on the can, like the distributed by 12. Oh, they're distributed by 12%. My bad. Omnipolo is distributed by 12%, and it said Mount Vernon, New York. So I was like, oh, cool, a New York brewery made it all the way out here to San Diego, and then it said it just had a lot of other information, but. So this one says product of the United States. So they might have a brewery over here that stages the name. But when I went on their website, everything was Stockholm, Sweden. So I got really excited. I do like they have a lot of like interesting can styles. So this one was like a very basic, almost like a graffiti style drawing, like super eccentric artwork. And I like that. And you guys know I love can art. So let's try this one out. This one is a lot stronger than the other two. This one comes in at 7.2%. This one is an IPA style. It is a Nelson Sauvin Mosaic Citra IPA. Sorry, 7.3%. So it'll be interesting to see how this comes out because this is probably going to be a lot hoppier, a little bit more potent. Oh, yeah, I can smell the hops right away. It smells good, though. So like I said, like the color scheme for all these beers are spot on. Like there hasn't been something that came out like a straw color that's not going to taste super light or weedy. There hasn't been anything that was dark yet or darker. For example, the red that was going to give it that gives it one look and then comes out another. So let's try this one out. This one's a little bit hard to review, especially after something like the mixed berries, because this is hoppy. This is definitely a very like mosaic style. Like I can definitely taste the type of hops they used in this. But it is a good beer. Definitely on the end of sipping beers where you'd sit with it for a while as opposed to like pounding them outside with your friends or chugging one of these. Like I wouldn't chug any of these beers because I mean they're not cheap, and if you're buying a 4-pack or a 6-pack, you're probably not going to want to waste it like shotgunning this beer or like chugging it as fast as you can. But then something like an IPA, if you try to like drink these too fast, like they'll either hit you hard because they're high ABV, or you're just not going to enjoy the taste of it because they are more bitter. They are a little bit more of a robust and a more complex flavor palette. So it's not gonna taste well to you in a large quantity. And you can tell by the way I'm drinking it that I'm not putting down a big gulp, or I'm not putting down like half the cup at one time, But getting more info on how the beers are made or how the beers are distributed, like any kind of area in the beer market that you want to learn more about, you can go online. There, like I said, there are magazines. I actually have like a coffee table book kind of style. That was my textbook for my beer class, and I forget what the name of it was off the top of my head. And I'll get it for you when I'm home because I know the book's at home. But that gives you like all the information from point A to point Z on where it starts to where it ends to it gets to the customer. And there's a lot that goes into this, and the marketing and how they design the cans. I always talk about like 6 Point out of they're from New York City, I think. Their can style, like even their generic can styles, are super, super nice, super vibrant colors. And then they have stuff like the Hootie Hoo, which has like the owl on it with all the complex drawing style. Or they'll have their jammer, which is supposed to like make like waves because it's all for the summer. Now it's year round because they do all different flavors. But it's awesome, like, to see how they do it and why they choose what they like. It would be cool to ask them like why they choose what they do when designing the cans. Like McKellar, you're not really gonna tell. You could probably tell from the logo. You see those two guys in the green circle, like that style, that art style of character is on every can that they make. And when I first saw it, I was like, that looks so peculiar. But at the same time, it intrigued me to go out and buy their products. And that's why it was good. That's why it was enjoyable. Omnipolo, I was very interested because so many people liked their products. And so it made me wonder, well, what were they doing that made them so popular? So it's easy to go on their website and see, and they'll talk about their style. It's not that like the beer industry is very open as to what they do. And yeah, there are some trade secrets. There are some brewery secrets that they don't want you knowing about. But at the same time, it's enjoyable to watch, like or to read about. So that's the beers for today. I was supposed to have a guest on today, but he's probably still sleeping because it's only 12:30, like not even 12:30 yet, and we work nights, so like this is like his prime sleeping time. But next week, I'm gonna try to get him on the show. I might do a little later episode just so that he can sleep in a little bit, but we'll see what we can do. So let me finish this off real quick for you guys. But yeah, another great episode, another good set of beers. I'm going to wind up finishing this one now after this is done. But I'm so glad you guys tuned in. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will put the link for beeradvocate.com, or at least like the website, in the description so that if you guys want to see, because they're really cool. So they have like a top 250, a top 100 on like all the beers. You can either do worldwide or just the U.S. It depends on what you're looking for. Any brewery you can think of, they'll have some kind of information on it. They do score the beers, or like they let people score the beers out of 5. So just before I leave, because I haven't written down here. So the McKellar beer out of 5 was rated a 3.8, and that's by people that have drank it and reviewed it on the website. So the ratings are a little skewed unless they have like the actual like copyrighted score from like an accredited beer like judging program. It's gonna come up NA because they don't have a score for it. The Wild Barrel from the Wild Barrel beer came up at, I think it was like 3.9 or like almost a 4. I think it might have been like 4. But only 2 people reviewed it on the website. But it is a really good beer, so I can see why they rated it so high. And then the Omnipolo beer also came up as a 3.8 out of 5. So it is kind of hard to get a bad review because usually the people that review it really enjoyed it. And there are people out there that do give honest reviews. I have seen some beers that get like 2s because they did something wrong, or that just simply that year was bad. Thank you, Eric. Yes, Eric says that the Beverage Corner is a 6 out of 5, and I'll try to keep it that way for as long as I can. But it's cool. So if you go on, you can make an account. You can post about stuff that you've drank. You can keep a collection, like an online collection of what you've had. Talk about the beers. Eric, stop, dude. You're making me laugh so much. Eric said I'm an 8 out of 5. So yeah, we'll see. And basically, you can like talk with people. Like I remember the first time I posted on their website, I got a lot of positive influx of messages. People that wanted to share ideas, asked where I was from so that they can get information on the local scene from me. Because it is cool. And living in New Jersey and then going to school in Connecticut when I was in college, I was open to a lot of different breweries at the time. Obviously, there are big ones in both. In Jersey, you have stuff like Cane Brewing that got super popular. Near us was Elementary, which was great. We reviewed their beers on the show. And then in Connecticut, you have stuff like Two Roads, and now they have Area 2, which are huge breweries. Shebin Brewing, where we did the milkshake IPA from. Like, that blew our minds, that episode. Go watch that episode because it was insane when we tasted that, because all four of us had no idea what to say about that beer because of the style. It was a milkshake IPA, and that's what they advertised it as, and that's what we got. So if you haven't seen those episodes, if you're looking for the Shebin one, I don't remember exactly which episode it was, but I know the can was like bright pink and blue. So if you look on the thumbnails, you'll see those beers. But it was really fun, and yeah, that's where I get all my information from. Not all of it, because some of it's from what I learned in school, but most of like my like commercial information is from either the brewery's websites or beeradvocate.com. So I will put a link in the description. And once again, enjoy your beer responsibly. No drinking and driving. I know with quarantine, it's easier to go out, get your beer, and enjoy yourself, but enjoy in moderation. Have a great day, guys.